All right, it's time to talk College World Series. We are ready for the Field of Eight in Omaha, and we're live today here on Sports Bettors Paradise. So we encourage you to interact with us. Any type of comments, angles, picks, questions that you may have over the next 20, 25 minutes. We'll certainly try and do our best. We taking a deep dive into this one, usually in Omaha. Been going since the early '90s, but not going to make this trip. But it's always an interesting thing. And the thing you have to talk, we have to remind, and we've done this before, Charlie. By the way, I'm Jimmy Ott. This is Charles Hanagriff. And we've been doing this for 8 weeks now. 7 out of 8 profitable weeks. And the one week we didn't was the opening week where I thought that the March Madness and May Madness flipped because there were a lot more upsets and than usual in the field of 64 for the NCAA baseball tournament than we're used to seeing. So, I mean, 6 of the top 12 were eliminated before the super regional round. I mean, that's unbelievable. But we have to talk about the park again. Rosenblatt Stadium forever was the home for the College World Series, and it was along the interstate. It was up on a bluff, and the ball carried pretty good. Wind was a factor, blowing in or out, but still, it was kind of hitting friendly. They went to when they moved it downtown to Charles Schwab Field. This is what, year 15, and all the dimensions are the same. So you think it would play the same? Not even close. It's built downtown. They got some bigger buildings around it. The convention center is right around across the street. The river is kind of, if you go from home plate, right center field extended, and the ball just does not carry. It just does not carry. For instance, we were betting a lot of unders for the Big Ten tournament that is held at Charles Schwab Field, where we're playing the College World Series. 12-3 to the under. It's a 16-team single elimination tournament. 12-3 to the under, and 2 of the 3 that went over in the last at bat. And we're looking at the conditions as well. Friday, 5 to 10 miles an hour in from right field. By the way, in the Big Ten tournament, it was mostly blowing out and blowing hard out. Now, the only other conditions from comparing to the Big Ten tournament that these temperatures are 30 degrees warmer than what they were. They played those games in the mid to high 50s. They're playing these games in the mid to high 80s. So there we go. We start off with our first game, Charlie, and Friday today, and that's Coastal Carolina. This line has really risen, and we were all wondering if they were going to throw their ace. Talks about Coastal Carolina's pitching staff, 10 guys, basically 3 ERA or under. It's unbelievable depth and quality for a mid-major program. Not as prevalent as it is in basketball or football, but still the NIL budget, player budget does exist, and it does separate the rosters from like Arkansas, LSU, and Tennessee from the mid majors. But Coastal somehow, some way, with this new head coach in his first year taking over, he's been there forever. He's a player, he's an assistant for a long time. He knows how to hustle a roster. But Morrison, who was just so filthy against Auburn in the Saturday game, they're not going to throw their best pitcher, the Sun Belt Conference pitcher of the year, who is 11-0 with a 2.11 ERA. Instead, it's going to be Eichhoff against Kramkowski. And a couple of things here. You're looking at plus 265 now. That might be along with Morrison, but this line is getting way too high, and I'm definitely suggesting Arizona. That's my lean here, but also my best bet is the under 9. I got it at 9.5. I said last time that get it as soon as it came out. It stayed at 9.5 for a day. It dipped to 8.5, but currently at Bet Rivers it's 9. So under 9 in Arizona, my picks. But Charlie, talk about this pitching matchups, and are you a little bit surprised that they're not going to go with Morrison here?
I am a little bit surprised. Morrison was so dominant. That said, Eichhoff has had a really good year. And if you saw those numbers that we just had up on the screen, Jimmy, neither one of these guys, neither one of these starting pitchers walks very many guys. Okay, we're talking about 10 walks in 80 innings for one and 17 walks in 83 innings for the other. So they don't give out a lot of free passes. They put a lot of balls in play. I want to add one thing to what you said about this being a pitcher's park. Everything you said about the wind and the park and how the ball carries, all that's true. And another thing is there is a massive amount of foul territory at this park, both behind the plate and down the lines. If you get pitchers that can make batters put the ball in play, there's going to be some extra outs in there. So neither one of these guys issues a lot of free passes. That's one thing that really stands out to me here. And Coastal Carolina, we discussed this on the Daily Show a little bit about can they be like a modern day Cal State Fullerton. What they've done is they have an old team. They made the comment that, the LSUs and Arkansas, they have a hard time getting old teams because their guys all get drafted. Teams like Coastal Carolina have a chance to keep guys around into their into their fourth or even fifth years. So that's how the mid majors can sometimes offset the talent differential. And Coastal Carolina does that as well as anybody.
And the pitching depth, and definitely Coastal is a consideration for a future bet at plus 650 right now. But this one, this is this is a much tougher game without Morrison going in this game. Now they've got relievers, they got a ton of pen. We gave out Oregon State last week, like in their draw. I thought that it would be North Carolina throwing Knapp in this spot, and you'd catch North Carolina without Knapp, and that's a big deal. But now Oregon State looks like if they just take care of business in the night game tonight against Louisville, they're going to face Morrison, and that is tough. So, yes, we got to Oregon State at plus 1,500 if you followed us last week. But right now it's 650, and it's all based on Morrison waiting. Now, if if Coastal does get tripped up and they're in the even before Oregon State plays, and you can get that number, then I would go ahead, because if Arizona can pull the upset, that is a big advantage for Oregon State should they hold on to win. Let's talk about that Oregon State matchup. One other thing about Coastal, how much we respect them. 26-4, dominant in a league that was rated number 7. So it's a top 10 league. It's a good league, not quite as good as it usually is, but still very good. And they've beaten teams like Clemson and some others during the course of the regular season. Their RPI and Skip Bertman, the best, the longtime coach for LSU, he'll tell us he sat in those selection committee processes. They use that tool over and over and over. They're number 3 RPI. A team like LSU is 11. Coastal, that's flip flop. But LSU's non-conference schedule was not that tough. Coastal's, number 3 RPI. Man, these are things that really catch your attention.
They went into Auburn and did something that no team did all year, Jimmy. They beat Auburn twice at Auburn in 2 games straight. Auburn had 5 SEC series. They won them all. And that included a sweep against LSU and 2 out of 3 against Vandy, who was the number 1 seed in this tournament. Coastal did what Vandy and LSU couldn't do. I'll throw you one more stat about Coastal, who, if I had to take a future today, if I didn't have anything on this series yet and I had to take one future, I would take the Chanticleers today at plus 650. I don't think they're better than LSU and Arkansas, but they're not on that side of the bracket. 23 wins in a row going into this thing is the most consecutive wins entering the College World Series in the modern format, going back to the 1999 when they went to the super regional format. So they're playing as well as anybody has in the current day college baseball going into this tournament.
But if you're going to bet them, I'm betting them to win it all at plus 650.
That's what I meant. Yeah, that's what I meant.
Instead of plus 140, the graphic that we just showed, just to make the College World Series final. They might not have the overall roster and draftability that Arkansas and LSU do, but they definitely can stay on the same field with those teams. They've already done what those teams haven't done. Not only hadn't they won, Auburn hadn't lost 2 in a row at home all year. So you throw in a midweek game, and Coastal goes in there. And look, the only run that Morrison gave up on the Saturday game, the clinching game, was a 2-out RBI single that the runner scored all the way from first. They didn't even threaten. And then they bring in guys out the pin. Coastal is for real. So plus 650, if you're going to do it, way more value. They can play with Arkansas and LSU if they reach the final than just the plus 140 to reach it. 6 o'clock game tonight, Central Time. Oregon State, $1.95. Louisville coming back plus 143. The total is 9.5. If you're looking for a side, I'm going under in all of these, but it's not. I'm just giving out 2 unders. The first one was Coastal Carolina and Arizona. But as far as a lean, I would go with the under in this one. Oregon State, we looked at it last week. Again, love their spot, love their draw, love their path to get there. They won a wild one, down 4-1 in game 1. In the game that the series that went 3 games, that was one. Down 4-1 in the ninth. They tie it up at the bottom of the ninth. They win it in extra innings and to beat Florida State and now advance to this point. Louisville, good program, great coach. Texas offered him the kitchen sink years ago to come to Austin. He refused, but this is not one of his stronger teams.
It's not, but I'll tell you, Jimmy, I'm going to take a shot with Louisville tonight,
Okay.
and I'm going to do that because of Patrick Forbes, who's going to start this game. He has been hot in the NCAA tournament, 22 strikeouts in 11 and 2/3 innings. He's going to be a high draft pick. If he can get them, and he's gotten them, he does not have a bad start in the last 3 months. He's not going to be a long guy, probably get you to the 6th inning, and then they're going to have to turn it over to the bullpen. But the other reason I'm going to give Louisville a nice shot at this price is Oregon State has struggled in game ones. Going back to the beginning of April, they lost their Friday night game against Nebraska. They lost at UC Irvine. They lost against Oregon. They struggled against a really bad Long Beach State team and won that game by a run. Then you get into the NCAA tournament. They lost their opening game against St. Mary's, and then they needed those 4 runs in the 9th inning to get by Florida State. They went to the 9th inning down 4-1 in game one. So Oregon State struggles in game one, plus Patrick Forbes, plus 143. I'm going to take a shot with Louisville tonight.
Give us a little further detail about Forbes and his current form because it just showed the graphic, and that's not exactly the most impressive of it. With a 4.36 ERA. I mean, it just what type of form how has he looked lately?
It's a lot. You see the big strikeout total there. It's about a 3-1
Oh,
strikeout to
yeah.
walk total, and the 22 strikeouts in 11 and 2/3 innings in the NCAA tournament, and he has not given up more than 3 earned runs in a game since the beginning of March. So the swing and miss stuff, plus this park, I think is going to
Yeah.
help all of the pitchers. But the one concern about Forbes is he's not going to be with the high strikeout total. He's not going to get you into the 8th inning. Okay, he's going to get you into the 5th, maybe the 6th, and then he's going to be out of gas. So it's going to be up to the Louisville bullpen. They swung the bats pretty well in these game ones against top flight pitching. They hammered Miami in the first game. So you got. I think at the price, I like Louisville here. If the numbers were reversed, I wouldn't like it as much.
You are right. That their strikeout numbers are impressive. I mean, we're looking at 1.6, 1.7 per inning. So, I mean, he's getting more than half of his outs
Yeah.
through the strikeout route. So, I mean, that is a lot. And Charlie, we have seen very mid pitchers, very mediocre at best pitchers come in Charles Schwab Field and attack the zone and be very successful. So, especially with the conditions. Speaking on, let's move on to the conditions on Saturday because on Friday or today it's blowing in from right field at 5 to 10 miles per hour. Modest wind there. It increases up to 10 to 15 miles an hour coming in from right center, straight from the river. And we look at our first game, 1 o'clock Central Time. UCLA, they are pounding the Bruins. Bruins are undefeated in postseason play, minus 315. They handled a very good Texas San Antonio team in the Super Regional round. Texas San Antonio scoring one in the first, one in the second, and then 16 scoreless frames to close out that series 2-0. Murray State plus 205. I don't think Murray State is built to make a deep run in this tournament. But heck, man, they're certainly going to battle you. The total is the highest that we have in this one, but the style of play, Murray State's going to score runs, going to give some up. That is not suited for this the dimensions on how this park plays as well. But I mean, puncher's chance at plus 205. Well, that seems I certainly can't lay UCLA at minus 315.
No, this is the toughest game of the front four to handicap for me, Jimmy. Murray State in the postseason, and I'm counting their conference tournament here over 11 games, is hitting 60 points higher than their regular season average. There's hot, and then there's what they're doing. How long does that last? Can it last one more game, 2 more games? Is it over now? I don't know. I certainly know what UCLA did to UTSA in the Super Regional round, but I don't know when this hot streak for Murray State is going to end. They're obviously playing a little bit over their heads, but listen, can you play over your head for a few more games, 1 more game, 2 more? Yeah, you can. UCLA obviously has got a lot deeper bullpen. Murray State has ridden their closer, Graham Kellum. Man, that guy pitched, I think, 6 times in 11 postseason games. He's gutsy. He's got good stuff. But how much can you ask out of him? This is a layoff game for me. I'm sorry. I'll play your under with you, maybe with that wind blowing in. But I can't pick a side here at these numbers because I just don't know when the magic ends for Murray State.
Well, they play in a hitter-friendly park as well. So you saw the team batting average at over 300 as a team. A batting average. I think they have like 7 guys that have are batting over 300 in their lineup. But you also look at their starting pitcher in his numbers as we look up right now. And Shoot is a guy that these are not going to blow you away, but he's a gamer, man. And I like him with that wind blowing in from right center as well. And I think he's going to be a little bit more effective than maybe them. And I love the batting average against, so that's the most impressive thing. He's their guy. I mean, he's got their most starts. He's their guy. He's their guy. How many times on regional Monday when we had, I don't know, 6 games, a starter from earlier in the regional came in relief. LSU did it. Arkansas did it. Little Rock did it. Ole Miss did it. Murray State did it. I mean, he was that guy that came back. So he is their guy. He is here for him. I think they could stay close. I'm not. It's not one of my favorite plays, but if I'm going to have to suggest something, I'm going to have to suggest a plus 2.5 runs. Visiting team. UCLA does not get their last at bat, so if it is a walk off, it's done at that point. Minus a multi-run bomb. So again, it's just. I think the plus 2.5 as the visiting team.
Yeah, I
Uh,
think I think they'll hit it, Jimmy. Here's what bothers me about Shoot. This is a first-time Omaha team. None of these kids. I mean, nobody expected him to be here. 51 walks in 91 innings. The nerves get to you out there. Your first time in this stage for Murray State, and he's already been a high walk guy. I like his moxie too. Their story is great. Everybody loves the coach. The 51 walks bother me a little bit.
all right. Games today are 1 o'clock and 6 p.m. Central Time. That's every day. Every day they play in Omaha unless it's weather related. So the early game is always at 1 p.m. Central. The night game is at 6 p.m. Central. And weather is supposed to be okay for this one. Also, some of our people interacted with us. Again, we're doing this every day through the College World Series, Monday, Wednesday, Friday, live at 9 a.m., taking your comments to recap what has happened and also from again, handicapping perspective, what to expect in our picks. Also, some folks want to know our best bet. I think it's both of ours right here. You like the side, I like the total. And I'm going to be on these unders especially with that wind blowing in. But you got 2 really good starters. The number one for these 2 teams, LSU and Arkansas, these are the best overall rosters remaining in this one. LSU has, and the latest projection, MLB.com put it out last night. The draft is about a month away. Anderson is the mocked at coming out as number 2 overall behind Jackson Holliday's little brother. That's right. Matt Holliday has another son who's going to be a high pick, a little bit bigger than Jackson and a corner infielder. But Anderson is really, really good, and he's been good. Don't freak out on a few earned runs given up in the West Virginia game. People were dropping like flies with heat exhaustion. It was unbelievable. He also had a big lead. He took a line drive off of his throwing forearm, but he also showed us some toughness in that one. He has been really, really good form. Root, on the other hand, for Arkansas, might not be their most talented pitcher. The big injuries of the season this year in college baseball from a national impact era. The champions in the regular season by multiple games, Texas Longhorns, midseason and conference play, lost their starter, and it hurt them. Arkansas regained an ace, and they brought him back. But Root, and not just Charlie, he's been phenomenal. He was unreal. 4 base runners all game long for the Tennessee Volunteers. So he's been a questionable ace at some times, but his form is unbelievable. And then we talk about going into this park. It's going to play very, very big. I love the under. It's at 9.5 right now. That dipped down to as low as 9. So I'm going with the under 9.5 as my best bet for these first 2 days of games in Omaha.
Yeah, I went to this game, Jimmy, a month ago in Baton Rouge. It was Root against Anderson, and the game ended up a one-run win for LSU in 10 innings. Both of the stat lines for these two pitchers were pretty. They were almost identical: 5 2/3 for Anderson, 6 innings for Root, and it really was a toss-up game. These are two excellent defensive clubs. Fielded in the 981, 982 range to go further your point on the unders. Root in his last 34 2/3 innings, this is over his last 5 starts, ERA is 2.07. You take out, I thought you did a good job explaining Anderson's stat line against West Virginia, and it is in that same genre. What I like is the odds here. I know what we just showed up on the screen. I'm watching as we're doing the show live. These odds have now gone to LSU minus 105 and Arkansas minus 127. The Tigers have been a little bit better number all week. It's fluctuated a good bit. So I'm going to take them. These are two experienced coaches, but LSU has 8 players remaining from that 2023 national championship team. It's the slightest of edges to LSU, but I'm never going to get Kate Anderson at this number. Not really anywhere, anytime, except maybe in a situation like this. So I'm going to take that. I like the Tigers here, and what I think is going to be the most competitive and high level game of the first 4.
And I think that we've tracked LSU as public. They are very public, and they are going to get bet. So I would think that minus 105 right now is a good spot. So great thing about being live, Charlie. We don't have to do a turnaround and post production and things like that. But minus 105 right now, I feel pretty confident that's about as good as you're going to get. Think about it. You got a team like LSU with the ace pitcher, the highest drafted pitcher who's been good. I mean, the whole thing. I mean, you getting some value as far as the futures. You can't bet either of these two teams to at these prices, man. That is that no. If I had to say anything, UCLA might be a consideration to win it all or to win this side of it
I
because they
take
have
them on the other side of that number, but not on this side.
well, they're not on the other side, Charlie. So,
I know.
so I mean, let's give what people what's available here. But if you had to make one, I would do that. We got a great number last week at Oregon State at plus 50, plus 1,500. The only thing, yeah, if you can get in at a similar price of what it is now after Coastal Carolina, if they do win the first game today, they've got the best pitcher in the conference, and he is electric. So Morrison for that marble game on Sunday. So they will be in a good spot. As our Oregon State with our 15-1, I'm not crazy about more having to face Morrison. You basically pulling for Arizona to pull the upset against Coastal Carolina. So, but the wind blowing in too, Charlie. The final score in that game in Baton Rouge, and listen, 90% of these parks in the SEC play pretty damn small. Knoxville and Athens are ridiculously small. I mean, the ball just flies out of there. Of all the regional rounds, Athens produced the most home runs. Even Eugene that plays very small as well. But this is a different ballpark up in Omaha, especially with the wind blowing right in from right center. I mean, it's going to be a low scoring game.
And that's a slight edge to LSU as well, Jimmy. We always think about LSU as a power hitting team, a lot of home runs. This year, not as much. Arkansas has 30 more homers than LSU on the season. So LSU has not relied as much on the long ball as many of their championship teams did. They've run a lot more this season with Jay Johnson than his previous club. So I think the wind blowing in, slight advantage to LSU.
One thing, and I want to dampen, kind of calm down the enthusiasm for LSU. And LSU's used to being here; they won more. Arkansas's never won one. We know about that. All that room in foul territory. They botched that one between the second baseman, first baseman, and right fielder as they dropped the 27th out to win the national championship. They lost that one and lost the next game as well. But LSU had a favorable path here. I mean, they had to win 2 out of 3 against a 268 RPI team in Little Rock. I mean, they're just playing 3 games against Little Rock, buried their RPI. They're 11. They're better than the 11th roster. It's not even close. These are the two best rosters, but also West Virginia. So they they also had a starter start one game and come in relief, and they weren't even forced to play a Monday game in
Right.
Clemson. So they still brought it back. He was compromised. Well, they're going to start him in game two. Well, the other starter was deathly sick, and he had to. My point is, and then it was really hot. West Virginia pitchers in just two games either hit or walked. Charlie, what is it again? 25?
25 batters.
25 batters, and 17 of them scored. You give away 17 runs in two games. So my point is, LSU didn't even actually have to go through murderer's row or beat a team that was their pitching at their absolute worst. This was the Big 12 regular season champion in West Virginia. So I just want to caution there. But very few have the power, the fielding, the starting pitching. Ianson could go in the first round as well. Anderson's going to go the first or second pick probably. They got two middle relievers have been lights out. They got another guy at 6'7", throws 101. Another guy from 6'8" from the left side that throws high 90. No, they've got an embarrassment of riches, but their path here was very favorable.
Yeah, and Arkansas played what I think we'd agree is the most talented team of the super regional losers in Tennessee. They beat Marcus Phillips. They beat Liam Doyle. Doyle kind of faded down the stretch here, and Tennessee had to use him twice in the regional. So Arkansas beat, I think, Tennessee, a much more formidable opponent than West Virginia. But, one other thing, both of these teams were almost unbeatable at home. Arkansas only lost 4 games at home all season. LSU lost 6. Both of these teams a little bit better than 500 on the road or at neutral sites. So we'll see which one handles better not playing in the friendly confines of their own park. We expect both of these clubs to be really, really well represented. There won't be an empty seat in that house Saturday night in Omaha.
LSU's even bringing Mardi Gras floats up there of Mardi Gras Mike the Tiger. He stopped at Kauffman Stadium to check out the Royals and Yankees last night. So he'll be there. Arkansas is just a 6-hour drive away. That's easy peasy. They'll be over there. So no, it'll be it'll be a lot of purple and gold and in red going to Omaha tomorrow for this game. So Charlie's got LSU in Louisville. I've got the under in the LSU game, under in Arizona. I like Arizona, a lean toward Arizona plus the juice there, and also a little bit of a consideration for the under in the Murray State UCLA game as well. No overs in opening weekend at Charles Schwab Field. Monday, Wednesday, Friday, 9 a.m. Central Time. So 10 a.m. Eastern, 7 o'clock on the West Coast. We'll be doing it Monday, Wednesday, Friday throughout the College World Series. For Charles Hanagriff, I'm Jimmy Ott, right here on the Sports Bettor's Paradise, the College Sports Rush.